If it means rescuing his grandfather from the clutches of the zombified Phil Urich, will Normie Osborn be willing to fuse with his symbiote partner Rascal and change his life forever? Well, let's hop to the pages of Red Goblin issue number 3 and find out together, shall we? So this issue actually opens up with a flashback to one of the more formative events in young Normie's life. He's riding the train with his grandfather Norman, who that day decided to eschew the family's traditional limo service to try and teach his grandson a lesson. You see, there's a homeless guy on the train begging for some change. The man who would be Green Goblin gleefully and venomously turns this man down, saying, "I have nothing for you," only to have young Normie fire back by saying, "But Grandpa, you have lots of money." Naturally, Norman wanted to use this as a twisted, teachable moment to his young grandson, saying, "That man might look innocent on the outside, but he's your enemy. He'll always be your enemy." Enemy, thinks Normie, in the way that children do. How can that guy possibly be my enemy? He only has one shoe. "Oh, sure," says Norman, "that guy might have one shoe, and sure, we have 3, and no one actually needs 3 shoes. And all the heroes and bleeding hearts of the world will ask us to give away our shoe under the auspice of justice or unity. But make no mistake, Normie, the fall from the penthouse to the gutter is a very short one, and if we give away one of our 3 shoes, soon they're gonna be coming for all our shoes." You know, I really wasn't expecting a big, long, belabored shoe metaphor, but credit where credit is due, this does do a good job to explain why Normie is as messed up as he is. And he's only getting more messed up by the second as we jump back to the present, wherein the roided up Goblin Nation gang are beating him down. So far as the Red Goblin, Normie's only really gotten by on sheer luck and the extra added benefits of having a symbiote. It's not like he's a trained fighter or anything. We saw how well he fared at school dealing with those bullies. In fact, I think these scenes are really meant to mirror one another. Phil Urich also takes this opportunity to gloat and monologue at Norman too, saying that men like Norman will always fail when it comes to raising up an army from the gutter who literally live under the streets of New York, because at the end of the day, he could always go back to his fancy silk chic penthouse. While Phil, on the other hand, never stopped caring about his followers in the Goblin Nation, even after his very literal death. The situation is growing pretty damn dire right now, and it's at that moment poor Normie ends up disappearing into his own mind to have a one-on-one conversation with Rascal, who's once again digging around in his memories even though he was told not to. Rascal says that he can save Normie and Norman, but that they're going to have to fuse together. Only then will they be strong enough to overcome this threat. Normie is still naturally a little apprehensive about signing himself away for a lifetime of symbioteness, but he's pretty damn desperate, and with his back against the wall, he opts to let Rascal take full control to fight off the bad guys. And oh boy, once he's in the driver's seat, does the Red Goblin absolutely cut loose, showing off several brand new interesting powers, as well as some classics from the original Red Goblin story, like instead of throwing pumpkin bombs, he throws symbiote bombs that look like pumpkins and also have little gnawing mouths on them. From the back seat, we hear Normie's internal monologue, and he says that there is indeed something kind of intoxicating about this sort of power, and that he could definitely get used to it. He also gets a little introspective and questions his own family legacy. After all, the symbiote can take whatever shape it wanted, but it once again chose to take the shape of a Red Goblin. Again, the kid is basically cluing into an idea that we as comic readers have known for a long time now, and that is that a symbiote doesn't actively make you evil, it just brings out what was inside you all along, and for poor Normie, what was inside him was, well, Goblin. What makes this scene especially compelling too is that Norman actually steps on in to try and protect Phil and the other members of the Goblin Nation, not wanting any more blood to be spilled in his name. Again, a nice little showcase for just how far Norman has actively come as a character since having his sins taken away and becoming the Gold Goblin. With some distance given to him, Normie decides that a tactical retreat would probably be the best course of action. They grab Norman and make it out of the sewers. It's around this time, too, that his mother, Liz Allen, starts to clue into the idea that both her son and father-in-law are missing. We get a great scene of Liz threatening the principal of the school up and down, saying, "Oh geez, you know, you think Norman is bad? You think he's a big scary supervillain? Well, you don't know half of what I could do to you. Hell, all of the most evil shit I've done hasn't even made the paper, so you should definitely be scared of me and how I can make stuff disappear." Again, looks like they're already starting to plant the seeds of Liz getting her own symbiote in the big Summer of Symbiotes event coming soon. It's around this time Liz ends up getting a call from the hospital. Apparently Norman got dropped off there and he's going to live. Though, hilariously enough, the doctors don't seem to know know or care about all the recent hard work Norman has put into trying to redeem himself. They just see him as another supervillain they gotta patch up. Normie, though, it seems, is in the win, and he almost gets bitten by a homeless lady's dog before eventually just plopping down next to her. As the lady explains, the dog's not bad, just overly protective. Again, that's the thing that people don't understand about pets. There's no bad pets, there's just bad owners. And it's here that Normie, sitting in the gutter minus one shoe, actually ends up having something of an epiphany. Maybe he is bad, maybe the Osborn family is cursed, but that doesn't mean that Rascal has to be bad. This is, after all, a boy and his dog story, only the dog is a symbiote, and Normie wants to be a good owner as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Red Goblin issue number 3, everybody, and once again, I don't know if this series works all the way through, but damn if I'm not really fascinated to take this ride and see where it all goes. It's fun to see Normie as a kid trip and stumble to eventually finding his own version of with great power comes great responsibility. I like that he views his new symbiote friend as a pet, and when you do have a pet, it can't all be about you anymore. It's kind of like being a parent. Normie wants to make a better life for Rascal, and yet hilariously, he's dealing with his own parental issues right now. It's also really nice just to see the continuation of Norman Osborn's good guy world tour. To have him continue to be put in these difficult positions and have his morality actually be tested. In fact, it gets even better because we know Norman isn't aware that Normie and the Red Goblin are the same person, but he tried to stop him from hurting people all the same. There's also a fun ticking clock at work here too. We've seen the Red Goblin suit with Normie in control, we've seen what happens when Rascal cuts loose, but we've yet to actually see them fuse and work together 100%. I gotta wonder when they do finally work it out and finally do officially fuse together, showing each other trust, will they actually look like the Red Goblin on the cover of the book? Because technically we haven't seen that one in the book proper yet. Overall, I'd feel comfortable giving this one another 7.5 out of 10. It's a little clunky, a little clumsy, a little all over the place, but damn it if there aren't a lot of really good ideas being played with here. And I'm kind of rooting for the series, and I genuinely want to see it succeed. Let's see if it can actually keep up this momentum going into the big Summer of Symbiotes crossover.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.